Hey, what is going on, guys? DK. Back at you with another video here to bring the 10-game NBA main slate on Wednesday. Before I get into the video, if you guys are new to the channel, welcome. My name is DK. I make daily videos and live stream for NBA and NFL slates on Draftkings. If you guys are interested in Thursday Night Football, make sure to check out my video. I uploaded it today, and we have Packers, Cardinals. That should be a really fun one. If you're unable to watch these YouTube videos, I also upload on Apple Podcasts. Link down below. It's called the DKDFS Show. If you're interested in signing up for premium content, I offer a few different packages on patreon.com. NBA package will cover the main and showdown slates. NFL package, same thing. An esports package that includes Call of Duty and CSGO. And I want to thank the sponsor, PrizePicks. I was checking the NBA board. It's not up yet, but I would expect it to be up, relatively soon. Usually it's up around when I make this video or just after. But yeah, guys, for NBA, there's a couple different ways you can play. The first way is taking over-under in fantasy points, and the second way is taking over-under in straight-up points, rebounds, assists. So if you guys want to try it out, you can sign up, use my code, DKDFS. That is DKDFS, all one word. You'll get a 100% match up to $100. All right, and finally, I want to thank you guys again for your continued support. So I'm getting a lot of love on the YouTube videos and the live streams as well. So if you guys do enjoy this content, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and let me know how you guys did on tonight's 5-game slate. All right, so before we get into players and the prices for this 10-game slate, let's look back at my lineup here from Tuesday's slate. It's every day, even the winning days, that the pain is just so real. Yeah, Porzingis injured. Now he was playing awful, and I should have had this other tweet up. Let me read you guys this tweet. All right, there's apparently a player council that said they wanted to play all 15 players. Jason Kidd says the Mavs 3-player council, whom he declines to divulge, came to him after practice yesterday and asked that all 15 active players get to play tonight. What? Is this real? Is that real? A player council and they want to play everyone on the roster? Have you ever heard of anything like that? So I'm already tilting this 15-man rotation for Dallas, and then I get the injury on top of it. And sure enough, I finally get lucky and get an overtime game, but it just doesn't matter, right? There's no sweat. Now, if Porzingis had a decent game, let's just say he had, around 40 fantasy points, I would be close to taking down the big tournament. So, and if Porzingis had a ceiling game, I would have a chance to win that big 100K. I think first place was 390 something. I had 350 with an injured Porzingis. So, yeah, but really what I was hammering home on Patreon, guys, was to load up on the Spurs and the Lakers. Obviously, that worked out. Now, overtime did help, but it wasn't like a massive boost. It gave guys a few extra points each. No one really went off in that overtime. But yeah, DeJounte Murray, Jakob Poeltl, Westbrook, and AD were core plays. They all smashed. So it was a pretty good night. He used Malik Monk and Lonnie Walker for value. Not going to lie, got a little bit lucky with Lonnie Walker kind of having that ceiling game. You had Keldon Johnson getting foul trouble. I also got lucky fading chalk Keldon Johnson. For some reason, he got benched. They had, who is it? Keita Bates-Diop was actually getting closing minutes over Keldon Johnson. I feel for you if you play Keldon Johnson because he was a good play and someone I was definitely scared of fading. And then Rondo is a low-owned value play. I knew he would be super low-owned. Started off really strong, didn't do much in the second half. But again, he was mid-priced, so I'll take it, 16 fantasy points. And then I did play cash games for the first time in forever because I wanted to see if there's still an edge, right? I've kind of talked about how I think there's not not much edge left in cash games. Well, after looking at, I only played a couple low stakes cash games entries. After looking at ownership, I would say I have to disagree with that because let's go over some ownership. This is in cash games. I just used the same lineup. I know Porzingis wasn't necessarily a cash game play, but Westbrook, 50% owned in cash games without LeBron James. Anthony Davis, only 60%. Pirtle, 35%. Murray, only 40%. Like, what? LeBron and Anthony Davis should have been 100% owned in cash games. Now, one thing I want to show. Here's high-stakes cash games. I didn't play this, but this is ownership in high stakes. And you see the ownership really condenses in the good plays. Anthony Davis, 94% owned. Pirtle, a little bit higher owned. Keldon Johnson was 77%. Again, you got a little bit unlucky if you played him. DeJounte Murray, way higher in the higher stakes, 65%. And Westbrook was 65% too. So, yeah, I thought those two Lakers guys were clear plays. So after reviewing the ownership in low stakes versus high stakes, I would say there is definitely still an edge in lower stakes cash games. Definitely. And then going over the winning lineup tonight in the Thunderdome, it was a good score. Murray, Poole, Vassell, Johnson, Pirtle, Westbrook, Davis, and Brunson. It's basically a full stack there of that Lakers and Spurs game. Now, I do want to go over a couple big winners because this is what really makes my job good. Like, it had some tough luck last 3 or 4 days, honestly, have been very, very tilting with, the random blowouts, the random foul trouble, stuff you can't predict that it really frustrates me a lot. But this is the reason why I love doing what I do. So, Mr. Wilson turning $94 into $2,600. If you guys saw the big tournament tonight, we had 2 in the top 15. Now, I would say almost everyone that signs up for like my premium content are like only play a couple lineups a night. So getting a couple lineups in that top 15 for the big tournament, I thought was pretty cool. Dustin had another big night, over $400 in winnings. Zach, $5 into $3,000. Nathan, he turned $70. $70 into $7,000. Phenomenal ROI. And then my boy Cam, absolutely love to see it. In the night slate, $15 into $10,000. Overall, he won, looks like $10,500 or something off of, maybe a little over $100 in entry fees or so. So absolutely love to see it. A lot more too in the Discord. Maybe I'll post some more screenshots on Twitter for you guys. But really, it was a phenomenal night for a lot of guys. And again, that's what I know. Like being sarcastic and joking around a lot, but that's really what makes it's the best part of this job is seeing those big wins. So congrats again to everyone. And yeah, let's move on to this 10 gamer. Here, let me refresh Bovada because I didn't do that. Oh, well, I guess it's going to go back to the main menu. All right, let's see. NBA. So, Charlotte, Orlando's a 217 over under. The Hornets are 6-point favorites. Hawks and Pelicans are 220 over under. The Hawks 6-point favorites. Pacers, Raptors 218.5 over under. The Pacers 1.5-point favorites. Heat and Nets 218 over under. The Nets 4.5-point favorites. Wizards and Celtics 226.5 over under. The Celtics 4.5-point favorites. Grizzlies and T-Wolves. Grizzlies and Trailblazers 234 over under. Blazers 2-point favorites. And Kings, Suns 226 over under. Suns 8-point favorites. And the Cavs, Clippers, the late night hammer 217. Clippers are 8-point favorites. All right, so we'll start off with Charlotte, who went into overtime last game, so you got to take that with a little bit of grain of salt. LaMelo Ball at 8.1K, definitely viable, good matchup here. There is some blowout risk. Now, again, the minutes are still not amazing on LaMelo, a 33 in an overtime game. I'm not sure exactly when he fouled out, but yeah, the minutes, I would expect, around low, like 30 to 32 minutes in a competitive game, which at 8.1K makes him firmly in play, but he should be playing more than that, right? You should be playing LaMelo Ball 36 to 38 minutes a night. I'm not sure why they're limiting his minutes. Again, Miles Bridges has just been phenomenal. Playing about 35 minutes a night. He's getting a ton of shot attempts up, getting close to double-digit rebounds a game. I have no issue if you want to go there. The price hasn't really moved. I still don't necessarily trust it, but again, he had some big games down the stretch last year too, and he's really, really playing well. So, like, I prefer Bridges to Gordon Hayward at a similar price. And then Mason Plumlee is also playing massive minutes. He's a solid point per minute guy, played 32 in regulation. Orlando is a big front court, so I'm actually okay with Plumlee. Would wish he was a little bit cheaper, but he's still firmly in play. I don't know if I get to anyone else, though. Rozier is, I think, doubtful. And then, Oubre at 5'7" is kind of just a secondary option for me. Let's move on to Orlando. So, Mo Bamba at the top, 6.2K. Should start and play around 30 minutes. The only real risk here is potential foul trouble. But if he can stay out of foul trouble, Mo Bamba has like 40-plus fans in the fantasy point upside. Excuse me. All right, so moving on to the rest of the Magic. Cole Anthony at 6'1", he had that really big game a couple games ago, but I think he's just priced about right. Wendell Carter Jr. at 5'7", also has a little bit of upside, but really I don't know if I get to anyone else in the Magic. Suggs and Wagner are, again, secondary options for me. Gary Harris should come back and take some minutes away from some of these other Magic guys, so there's just not a lot that I love. I think Bamba, Carter Jr. probably being my two favorites. Moving on to Washington and Boston. So Brad Beal has kind of had a slow start to the year. He's only 9.2K. Boston's been involved in a couple shootouts, a couple overtime games. So if you want to go to Beal and GPPs, that's fine. Didn't win Kuzma. I don't love the prices on either. Harrell and Gafford split in center minutes. Small lean to Harrell over Gafford for me because there's less foul trouble risk. But really not much here. Like KCP, Denny, Bertans are all going to get minutes, and those guys are all just reliant on scoring. Moving on to Boston, so looks like Horford will be back. He is probable. So downgrade to Robert Williams. Tatum and Brown at the top, I think, are both viable options. I think a small lean to Brown now over Tatum for the discount. 7.8K for Brown, 9.1 for Tatum. Again, the two bigs, Robert Williams and Horford, I think both played 25 to 30 minutes. Rob Williams has been a little bit up and down. We know the upside is there. And then, Horford has only played 2 games so far, but he's been productive in both. So both the bigs, I think, are decent options to their respective price points. Schroeder probably moves to the bench at 5.7K, so he becomes a secondary option, even though he has played well so far. I'm moving on to Miami and Brooklyn. It's a good matchup here for Miami, but price points, no one really stands out. Jimmy at almost 9K. Not for me. Bam at a buyout, 7.9. Sure, he does have some upside, but on a 10-game slate, there's probably better options. Lowry at 7.3. A little bit easier to get to him, but still, right? He's not. He's like the third fiddle on offense here. Tyler Hero is probably still my favorite play at 6.7K. He's going to play around 30 minutes off the bench, getting a ton of shot attempts up. 18, 28, 12 shot attempts the last 3 games. So even at 6.7K, I think he's viable for GPPs. Moving on to Brooklyn. So they priced up Harden, even though he's been awful. So this is the game, right? Everyone's been playing Harden every single day. This is going to be the game randomly where Harden goes off in a tough matchup with the price up, right? No one's going to play him. He's going to smash. Now, I probably can't play him, but you already know what's going to happen, right? Since he's been so popular and he continues to let down. Durant definitely going to be, the safer target since he's played a lot better than Harden lately. Obviously, going to get it done with the peripheral stats as well. But the price points for both in a match against Miami doesn't really stand out for either. The secondary options, just good luck. That's all I'm going to say if you're going to target some of these secondary options. Good luck trying to figure out this rotation. If Bruce Brown starts again, I do have some interest in, but his minutes could be all over the place. He's only 3.7. Aldridge, when I play him, he looked like he didn't belong in a basketball court. When I fade, he's been smashing. So if he's going to play about 20 minutes, he's definitely viable for tournaments. Again, though, will the minutes be there? Patty Mills has been solid off the bench, but 4.5K feels about right. So not much else here for Brooklyn. Moving on to Atlanta and the Pelicans. This is a really good matchup here for the Hawks. Trae Young at 9K, I think, makes for a really good tournament play. The floor is a little bit low on Trae Young, but the ceiling is there. And this is a matchup. The Pelicans don't play a lot of defense, so I do like Trae Young a good amount here for tournaments. Capella, they continue to limit his minutes, so unless we hear that he's no longer on a minutes limit, I'm going to continue to fade Capella, even though that price is appealing. John Collins at 6'3", I think, is a viable option. He's probably my favorite secondary option here for the Hawks, but the rest of these wings, I usually just stay away from him. Bogdanovich and Reddish and Hunter's back. They have Herter. Gallinari might play. I'm just not dealing with that headache. Solomon Hill sometimes gets minutes. I'm going to pass on the wings there for Atlanta. Now, Gordy Jang with Capella playing somewhat limited minutes has been really solid off the bench. He is a good point per minute guy, so a contrarian value play in large field tournaments, I think you can make the argument for Gordy Jang. Moving on to the Pelicans. So the price points still look pretty good on the top 2 guys here, Ingram and Valanciunas. They're just playing massive minutes, right? Ingram got an early foul trouble in the first half. He lost about 3-4 minutes. If he would have played about 40 minutes, he played 40 in this game against Minnesota. So I do like Brandon Ingram a decent amount. Again, he's playing massive minutes and stuff in the stat sheet. And Jonas Valanciunas, as I said, the minutes are that he played 39 minutes last game, guys. 39 minutes for a phenomenal point per minute guy in Jonas Valanciunas. There's less foul trouble risk, in my opinion, going up against a guy like Clint Capella. So I'm pretty high on JV at this price point. I think if he's going to play 38 minutes a night, he should be, honestly, close to 10K in price. Like, I think he is underpriced if he's going to continue to play close to 40 minutes a night. So I'm very high on Jonas Valanciunas. And Nickeil Alexander-Walker, minutes production's been a little bit up and down for him. Shooting-wise, I guess fantasy points-wise, he's been averaging like 35 fantasy points a game. So I'm perfectly fine going there. I actually might have a small lean to Devontae Graham over NAW for the price. He is cheaper and playing similar minutes. So there actually is some to like here on the Pelicans, their top 4 guys. But other than that, there's really not much. Herbert Jones has been playing big minutes, but he's more out there for his defense. So more usage to the other guys in that offense. And then, yeah, not much else here. All right, Pacers and Raptors. So the thing to keep an eye on here is Caris LeVert. He's currently listed as questionable. If he's back, it's probably going to take a guy like Chris Duarte out of play for me. But we'll start with Domantas Sabonis at 9.9K. I'm perfectly fine going to him. He's going to play close to 40 minutes. Probably going to get a double-double, has triple-double upside. I think he's a very safe spend-up. Brogdon depends on LeVert. If LeVert's in, I'm probably going to pass on Brogdon. If LeVert's out, I think Brogdon is still in play because of the amount of minutes he's playing. Not going to go to Turner. And Duarte is fine. He's like a solid option. He seems priced about right. Now, if LeVert's in, I'm going to stay away from him. And then the rest of the Pacers, they're just spreading out the minutes. Not much else here. Goga got some minutes because there's severe foul trouble for Miles Turner last game and Sabonis. So I don't think he gets in the regular rotation again. Moving on to Toronto. So this is a really, really good matchup. Fred VanVleet finally had that ceiling game. 1 for 50 fantasy points, 17 assists. Definitely more of an outlier, but 43 minutes, guys, and that game did not go to overtime. 43 minutes. So if we're going to get like 40 minutes of Fred VanVleet in a matchup, an up-tempo game against the Pacers, I'm good at that. Also, he has shooting guard eligibility, which is nice. Now, OG Anunoby is definitely taking a leap forward here for this team. He's one of their top options in offense. 17, 17, 15, 17 shot attempts for the first 4 games. He's rebounding the ball well. He's a guy that can get those blocks and steals, so I'm perfectly fine going to OG in the mid-range. Scotty Barnes, the issue I have with this price point is, yes, he's going to play big minutes if he can stay out of foul trouble. That's a big if. He's been in foul trouble a lot, so I don't know if it's worth the risk. I think I'd rather go to OG to similar price. And then my boy Precious, if he's going to continue to be sub 5K starting center playing 30 minutes, I'm just going to continue to play him, right? He's going to play around 30 minutes as long as there's no foul trouble. Going to get you close to a double-double. I like Precious Achiuwa, again, a good amount at that price. And then I hate playing this guy, but he's playing big minutes, 32, 36, and 36 the last 3 games. He's just so reliant on the scoring. But, hey, he's still sub 5K and going to play mid-30s minutes. So I think Trent is firmly in play. Minnesota and Milwaukee. So Karl-Anthony Towns also played massive minutes last game, 40 minutes for Cat. We already have no Brook Lopez, so they're a little bit thin in the front court. Now, they do have Bobby Portis back, but I don't think he plays a ton of minutes. So I think Karl-Anthony Towns could have a pretty good game in this type of matchup. So 10.1K, I think he's a pretty good play at his price. Ant-Man has been having a really solid start to the year. Price almost 8K. More of a secondary option for me. And then D'Angelo Russell, the minutes really haven't been amazing on him. Hovering around 30 in a close game. So but the price is doable, so I would say he's more of a boom or bust play for me. The rest of Minnesota, I'll mention Pat Beverly playing, 20 minutes first couple games. He's a good defender. So for a value option, I think he is in play. All right, moving on to Milwaukee. As I said, still no Brook Lopez, no Drew Holiday. So Giannis Antetokounmpo looks like one of the best spend-ups in the slate. It's just the floor and the ceiling he brings. Floor and ceiling he brings. He's going to play probably around 35 minutes a night. So I think Giannis looks really, really good here. Middleton at 7.8K without Drew Holiday, I think it is a pretty safe option. It'll be their clear number 2 on offense. And then the rotation by Coach Bud, it's just a headache. They ran a 10-man rotation. They just he's constantly subs. He's subbing everyone. He's subbing someone in once every 2 minutes. It's constant subs. Dude, just chill with the subs, Coach Budenholzer. Just have a normal rotation, right? Play guys, 8-9 minutes, and then sub a couple out. Stop with this subbing guys in every 30 seconds. I'm looking at this app. There's constantly guys subbing in and out, subbing in and out. Chill. But yeah, Bobby Portis is 4.3K. Again, he is probable. Most likely going to be at a minutes limit. If he is not, if there's no limitation for Bobby Portis, he could start and play big minutes. And if he does, I think he looks phenomenal. But like coming off the hamstring injury, I'm going to assume there's going to be a limit on him. So that's something to keep an eye on. And the rest of the value, like George Hill's once again fine. We know what George Hill is, right? He's going to start. He's going to play 25-ish minutes and probably get around 20 fantasy points, 15 to 20 fantasy points. So I think he's a pretty safe value play. And then last, I'll mention Thanasis. He started the 5 last game. If you played him, you got pretty unlucky. He got massive foul trouble. But again, Bobby Portis being in, that probably hurts Thanasis' minutes. Okay, Lakers and the Thunder. So something to keep an eye on here. LeBron James missed the game tonight. And then Anthony Davis was dealing with knee soreness. So it's a back-to-back. LeBron sat, AD questionable. Oh boy, things could get interesting here. If LeBron James and Anthony Davis are out, I present to you Russell Westbrook at 9.3K going up against his former team. I don't think I have to spend a ton of time on that, right? But again, if there's no AD and LeBron, so if Anthony Davis is out, that means we're probably going to get 48 minutes combined from Dwight Howard and DeAndre Jordan, and both would look phenomenal at their respective price points. Both are good point per minute guys. Would really, really like them both if Anthony Davis does miss this game. And again, if LeBron is out too, then obviously, again, Westbrook looks great. And then it's like, all right, all these secondary options are going to look pretty good. Guys like Melo, Bazemore, Rondo. Can you make the argument for where is he? Austin Reeves, like he's been playing big minutes. Sure, at min price, why not? Literally everyone that will be like available for the Lakers if LeBron and Anthony Davis are out would be in play. But mainly Westbrook and the 2 bigs would be my favorite options. Now, if Anthony Davis is out and LeBron is in, then obviously LeBron and Westbrook both look good and the bigs look good. Again, if they're both out, it's Westbrook, the bigs, and basically everyone else in the roster is in play. So Lakers definitely got to monitor that injury news. Moving on to the Thunder, this rotation is just such a headache. I saw people tilting Darius Bazley minutes, and I feel for you, right? It's just, you cannot figure out, like, he's been in the closing lineup the last 2 games that were competitive. This game that's competitive in a small ball team, you'd think it's great for him, 20 minutes. Like, what are we doing here, Oklahoma City? What are we doing? But yeah, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to be the reason this game stays competitive. He kept it close for Golden State, and he had a big game. I said, hey, if the Thunder have any chance of keeping it close, it's probably SGA. And SGA had a big game, so I like him at 7.1K. Josh Gideon at 4.8K. Playing, high 20s minutes. I think he's a fair play at this price point, a guy that can stuff his stat sheet. Lou Dort is also playing big minutes, but again, more out there for his defense. I think he's just a fine play at that price. They started James Robinson-Earl and actually played him a lot more than I thought. He played 27 minutes, so assuming he starts again, I like him, but we do have Derek Favors coming back, and then it's like, he's probably going to lose minutes, right? The Favors, Robinson-Earl, Muscala, maybe Roby front court. It's just, ugh. I don't want to talk about that too much more. So, Sacramento and Phoenix, it's a tough matchup here for the Kings. De'Aaron Fox was a massive letdown for me in a smash spot against Golden State. I'm still tilting that one. Not much interest in him at that price point, which means he'll smash. Harrison Barnes continues to play unreal. Like, he's playing really, really well. 7.5K. I'm going to continue to fade. And then probably my favorite play on the Kings is Sean Holmes' revenge game narrative against his former team in the Suns. 29 and then 32 minutes in competitive games. That game against Utah was competitive, but he fouled out. He was in massive foul trouble. And Holmes is a good point per minute guy. So I think he's a pretty solid play as long as he can stay out of foul trouble at that price. And then I guess I'll mention Davion Mitchell too. Where is he? He's 4.2. 32 minutes last couple games. He had a good game shooting. I think he is interesting, contrarian value play. Moving on to the Suns. So again, the Suns are just like the Utah Jazz for me. When they're fully healthy, there's just not much that really stands out here. Booker, Paul, Ayton, all fine in an up-tempo game. I think they're all just secondary plays. Like, there's nothing at the ceiling on these guys, but there's no one that really stands out to me. And then you have the wings that are all just standing in the corner, shooting threes, and Bridges, Crowder, and Cam Johnson. I'm not playing Landry Shamet. Cameron Payne is out. He was playing the backup point guard, so it's going to be Alfred Payton that fills in for that role. He played well in a blowout in 25 minutes, but he probably only gets about 15 minutes in a competitive game. And then I will mention JaVale McGee. He's playing the backup 5 and playing somewhere around 10 to 15 minutes. He's a really good point per minute guy. So in the larger field tournaments, like McGee and Payton, I think are at least worth a look. All right, Memphis and Portland. So I know you guys know this, but I love Josh so much. He is so good. Honestly, like, he might have an outside chance to win the MVP this year if he continues to play like this. He is playing out of his mind the first 3 games. As I've said, I'll say it 1 or 2 more times now, that without Jonas Valanciunas, there is a massive usage bump to Ja, right? Because, again, they are not posting up Steven Adams. It's offense is give the ball to Ja and get out of the way. So 9.6K might feel like a lot, but he's playing massive minutes. This is a good matchup. I like him a good amount as contrarian spend up. Triple J, he's a frustrating player to watch. This guy has all the upside in the world, but he continues to, like, I don't know, like, not do much, be in foul trouble. I don't know, like, he's in play for tournaments, but, like, man, he's just a frustrating player. Now, Steven Adams at 5.3K, this is just too cheap. For the amount of minutes he's playing, I think he plays, this is a bigger front court of Portland with Nurkic and Cody Zeller, so I think we get probably 32-ish minutes from Steven Adams. I think he's a very safe play. Has had a little bit of upside, too, last couple games. I like Steven Adams, and then I like the 2 other guards starting in Bane and Melton. Melton playing around 30 minutes a game, good on the offensive end, and then Desmond Bane has played really well. Definitely having a good sophomore season, so I like both Bane and Melton as well. Can you make the argument for slow-mo off the bench? Yeah, but the minutes haven't been as high in him, only about 20. I will mention Xavier Tillman, and I'm going to bring this up in preseason if you guys play preseason DFS. The Grizzlies sat everyone, and Tillman was one guy I really liked the core play for me, and he did nothing in 20 minutes. But in a regular season game against the Lakers, in 22 minutes, he smashes. So, he's been in DNP the previous 2 games. If Tillman's going to be in this rotation, I think he's at least worth a look in large field tournaments. I'm not convinced he's going to play again. I need to see him be in the rotation a couple more times for me to feel confident there. Moving on to Portland. So, Damian Lillard continues to struggle. The price not really moving a ton. Like, this is a good buy in tournaments, right? Yes, he can continue to shoot poorly, but, like, he's not going to forever, right? We know the type of player Damian Lillard is, and this is a good matchup, so a contrarian Dame Lillard, Ja Morant pairing in tournaments, I think does make sense in the larger field tournaments. So I like Dame a good amount for GPPs. Now, CJ has played really well and shooting the ball really well. So honestly, in the cash games, like, he probably looks better to get to than Damian Lillard. And then again, just no one's surprised. I know he wasn't great last game, but they just got absolutely destroyed. So I just throw that last game out the window. Don't care about it. Sub 7K will play around 30 minutes. I think Nurkic is a pretty solid play. Norman Powell is questionable, pretty significant. If he plays, there's not much interest in anyone else. If he misses, then Nasir Little at 3.9K, I think becomes a pretty good value play. He played 32 minutes last game. I think we'd get around 30 minutes from him. Last game, Cleveland and the Clippers. There's just not much here for Cleveland. I mean, Jared Allen had a big game last game, but, like, everyone just seems priced about right. Honestly, they're all secondary plays, so not much to say here for Cleveland for me. And finally, the Clippers. So Paul George was on pace for a massive game. I had him a sub 10% ownership, and like a pick-em game, basically massive blowout. Doesn't play the fourth quarter. So Paul George in this spot I think is a decent spend up. Reggie and Bledsoe feel a little bit too cheap. One of these guys is be on the court at all times, and they've been pretty good together. So. Both the Clippers guards, again, I think are a little bit underpriced. I like them both. And there's no Marcus Morris. This is a big front court against Cleveland, so Zubac might be asked to play a little bit more. 4.8K. I actually think he's in play on the slate. And then Hartenstein's definitely going to play against a big front court. He's only 3.3K, guys. 16, 17 minutes, 21 and 21 fantasy points. Now, he is very prone to the foul trouble, but at this price point, it just doesn't really matter, right? So I actually do have interest in both the Clippers bigs and Zubac and Hartenstein against a big Cleveland front court. I don't really think the Clippers can play small. And then Batum probably starts. I think he's a pretty safe value play. Probably plays high 20s minutes of the game, stays close. Luke Kennard had a massive game last game. I will warn you, though, Kennard does have upside, but he has to hit his shots. The floor is sub 10 fantasy points if he's not hitting his shots. All right, guys, that is going to do it for the video today. If you have been enjoying the content, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I want to say one more time, congrats to all the big winners tonight. Thanks again, guys. Have a great night, and I'll see you all in the live stream tomorrow.